Hey, everybody. I've got some controversial content for you today. Can't wait to share my thoughts on something that everyone who's into cycling, running, or endurance exercise has often thought about, talked about, and probably even done it. Let's talk about recovery. Hi, welcome to The Crossing, where cycle commuting and gravel riding meet. I'm Jackal Crossing, and in this YouTube series, I'm going to share with you my cycle commute and my gravel rides and how the two work together to make me a stronger, safer, faster rider. So grab your bike and let's go for a ride. Hey, folks, welcome to The Crossing. And today's topic, recovery. You guessed it, the R word. I'm going to talk to you today about my recovery. It's a topic I promised a few weeks back to discuss. And now that we're closing in on just over a month to go before Unbound, recovery is more important than ever for me in my training. And so I wanted to share with you all my thoughts on recovery and a little bit of my recovery regimen. What am I doing for recovery, and what does that look like in my training routine? So let's start with very, very basics. What is recovery? Recovery is the amount of time it takes for your muscles to recuperate between hard efforts, right? So whether that's a very short, intense exercise session or a very long endurance exercise session, it takes time after those events for your muscles to recuperate, to rebuild, to repair themselves, to get nutrients back, to be able to function at that level one more time, right? This can be anything from a hard 15-minute effort on a trainer to a long effort on, a trail somewhere, a 100-mile ride or something. There's a big misconception that goes around in endurance athletes about recovery exercise. And I think this is me personally. I think what people are calling recovery are actually easy training days. All right, so there's a difference between easy training and recovery. Recovery is a period of rest. Recovery is a period of time in which you are not engaging the muscles to the capacity at which a hard effort would initiate, right? So recovery is rest. Recovery is healing. Recovery is ice baths, nutrition, massage, cold therapy, hot therapy, all of these different things that we do to help our muscles feel better. That's actually recovery. Getting out and riding 30 miles after an 80-mile hard effort isn't necessarily recovery. Can it be beneficial? Yes, it can, but it's not recovery. And the two are so separate, but also very important. For today's episode, I just want to talk about recovery and what it is and how I use it in my training. My training regimen looks like this: 3 times a week to 4 times a week, I'm riding 25 miles a day on my commuter bike, which weighs approximately 40 pounds. I vary my effort levels starting on Monday with a low effort, ramping up by Thursday. I'm putting out a hard effort so that Friday I rest. So Monday I ride, Tuesday I ride, Wednesday I do not ride. I do lightweight training, stretching, that sort of thing on Wednesdays. Thursdays I ride, Fridays I rest. Friday is a recovery day from all of my base training. When I'm recovered on Friday night, Saturday, I get up and I do a hard effort on Saturday. That hard effort may be 40 miles at an increased pace, or could be 60 miles at a more endurance pace, or 80 to 100 miles at a long endurance pace. So where I'm aiming for zone 2 cardio for 80 to 90% of that effort. Whereas my shorter rides, my harder efforts are going to be a higher cardio rate for a shorter amount of time. That's how I'm training for this. Forget about elevation, forget about any of that stuff right now. I'm just talking about duration and level of effort. After that hard effort on Saturday, Sunday is another recovery day. right? So I have a pre-ride recovery day to recover from all of my base training, make sure that my muscles are fresh for Saturday. And then Sunday, I have a 0 effort recovery day. On Friday, I may do some stretching, some lightweight training, things like that as well, but I'm not, again, engaging those muscles in which I'm going to use for my hard effort. I have taken those offline. They are not to be used because I need them to be fresh for the hard effort. All right, so what does my recovery look like during all of this, right? What specifically am I doing for recovery? Yes, I said I'm resting or doing lightweight training and not riding, not exercising to that level. Other things I'm also doing is I'm ensuring that I'm eating properly, getting the right balance of nutrition. I also take a multivitamin every day, which is a form of supplementation. It's one of the very popular big name professional edge multivitamins. I am also making sure that I am getting the proper hydration levels, including protein supplement drinks after efforts and just plain water, electrolyte mixes, things like that. I'm also doing intermittent cold therapy where I'm getting in ice baths when it has been greater than 8 to 12 hours since my last effort, my last training effort, not just a ride, but just a training effort, right? So one of these intentional training sessions, I will not do ice bath unless it's been at least 12 hours. I'm also doing compression when I've had a very hard effort. I will use compression like sun sleeves or leg sleeves, things like that to help with compression. There's a lot of healing that can happen in compression. I'm also doing stretching. Um, Biggest thing I'm doing is sleeping. I'll take a nap in the afternoons after a hard effort on a Saturday. I will take a nap. It's I wake up, I feel a lot better. So the biggest thing I'm doing is listening to my body during those recovery periods. But yes, nutrition, hydration, compression, and cold therapy, and massage and stretching. Those are the key elements to my recovery plan. I do those every other day or when needed, right? So at least doing those every other day, maybe not all of them every other day, but in some rotation, those are getting done every other day. So nutrition's an everyday thing, obviously. Hydration's an everyday thing, obviously. Uh, the multivitamin is an everyday thing. But the other things, the compression, the napping, the cold therapy, the extra stretching, the weight training, those are intermittent and mixed into that recovery platform so that I get a varied amount of different types of recovery, right? I've seen a lot of gains in that. So that's what's working for me. I hope that makes sense. Now, when I'm doing light training, easy training, or what a lot of people would call recovery rides or recovery walks, recovery hikes, it's actually just a level of easy training to keep the muscles moving. Typically, it's done a day or two after a very hard effort to just kind of help keep muscles moving, kind of help keep the lubrication going there, keep from getting too tight, avoid cramping, or also to check to see, hey, did I injure myself? Did I pull a muscle? Because that next day or 2 days later is when you're going to feel that long delayed injury, right? Acute injuries, you'll feel them in the moment. You know you hurt yourself, but a delayed onset muscle injury, you may not feel for a couple of days. I'm not talking about general use soreness here. I'm talking about a legitimate injury, in which case you need to seek medical attention to care for it. Muscle soreness will heal with recovery. Yep, it will heal with recovery. When you recover and you use your recovery tools properly, your hydration, your rest, your cold therapy, your hot therapy, compression, all of these things, massage, all of these things are part of recovery. And the biggest part of recovery is the rest, including sleep. Getting enough sleep after a hard effort is just as important as getting enough sleep before the hard effort. When you sleep, that is when the majority of repairs are done to your body, including your muscle and nervous systems. When you're asleep, you're basically in a state of semi consciousness, right? Your body is using all of its available tools from your endocrine system, from your fat stores, from everything, right? To just rebuild everything that was damaged. This works for the nervous system. This works for the muscle system. It works for your cardiovascular system. It's everything. This is where your greatest point of recovery happens during sleep. So make sure you're getting enough of it. Hydration is another really, really important part for endurance recovery. If you don't have enough fluid in your muscles, they can't recover quickly enough. Um, the next is nutrition. If you're not giving yourself enough food, the right types of food, the right types of nutrients into your body, your muscles cannot heal as quickly. So all of these things play hand in hand. I listened to a podcast. I'm going to give it a plug here, the Huberman Lab. Fantastic, fantastic podcast. Yes, I know sometimes they can be long, but they recently did a series on endurance athleticism. And one of the episodes was all about nutrition, hydration, supplementation. It was one of my favorites. I learned a lot about recovery in that episode. I'll put a link to it down in the description. If you haven't listened to the Huberman Lab and this specific podcast series from them about endurance athleticism, I highly recommend it if you are looking to learn more about your own endurance and how to improve it. There are a lot of great tips in the podcast, but it's science based. And I really like the approach that they take in explaining how the science works behind the things that they're talking about. So, highly recommend Huberman Lab podcast. Check it out for especially this particular series about endurance athleticism. And one of my favorite episodes was the hydration, nutrition, and supplementation episode. So I'm gonna really like that one. But yeah, check it out. Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. Come back. Tell me what you think of the Huberman Lab if you haven't already watched or listened to it. Pretty cool stuff. Now, back to recovery. That's the unpaid advertisement here, the unpaid commercial, if you will, because I really got a lot out of it, and I believe that others can too. So, back to the topic at hand, recovery. Recovery is rest. Recovery is non exercise. Recovery is not going for a walk. Recovery is not going for a shorter, easier ride. Recovery is not doing a different type of exercise. Recovery is simply rest, hydration, fueling, compression, hot therapy, cold therapy, whatever works for you. I know, sounds like I'm beating a dead horse, beating a head horse. Sounds like I'm beating a dead horse. But yeah, here's how it goes, right? For me, my recovery, when I work my plan properly, right? When I do the things I need to do, I'm training correctly through the week. Monday, easy ride. Tuesday, a little bit harder. Wednesday, weight training. Thursday, hard ride on a short, hard ride, right? So I'm doing high intensity interval training, basically red light to red light, max efforts on my commute. Friday, rest day. Saturday, hard effort, hard endurance effort. Sunday, rest day. That Saturday is where I see the biggest gains in fitness. That Saturday effort is where I see the greatest gains because all that work and then I rested enough that I could give 100% effort to whatever I'm doing, right? So I have noticed this very obvious increase. And when I look at my Strava or I look at my Coros data or I look at other fitness tools that I have that I'm using to track my fitness and show my fitness gains, it looks like a staircase every week. It's up a little, up a little, up a little, levels off, up a little, up a little, up a little, levels off. Take a look. This is what it looks like. That's my Strava fitness chart. And it's really, really been helpful for me to see that gain and grow. It's encouraging when I can see those little gains. A couple of years ago, I hit a plateau. I wasn't doing anything different. I maintained my same, 24, 25 miles a day every day, and I didn't do anything extra. My fitness leveled off and I wasn't getting any stronger. Now, since, September, October, when I started getting into a little bit more serious about how I take cycling and what I'm doing with cycling, I've been able to see that growth, and I've been able to see it because I've changed what I'm doing, right? We'll get into a whole nother topic, maybe another time, about developing a training plan that worked for me and how that worked and where I started and where I've gotten to. But for today, just want to reiterate that recovery allows you to see the gains. I don't know what more I can say, folks, without beating a dead horse here. Just make sure you're intentional about how you recover and when you recover and what your recovery activities are. Experiment, try different things. It's going to be a little bit different for everybody. My program might not work for you. You might have to experiment and figure something out. Also, I am not a medical professional, so don't take anything I say as medical advice. This is just my opinion and my experience only that I'm sharing. So there's my little disclaimer so I don't get in any trouble with anybody coming back and saying, hey, I tried this and now I'm injured. Yeah, I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not a medical professional. I just know what worked for me, and I want to share that with the world. So with those words of advice, I'm going to leave you all. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate your support of the channel. All of those that have subscribed recently, thank you so much for the channel growth. We're up to about 43 subscribers, and really, really appreciate everyone's support on this channel as we have started to grow. Stay tuned for more as we take the journey to Unbound Gravel and beyond. There might be an episode about Bentonville coming up after Unbound as well. Sneak peek at some Bentonville rides. That's the teaser. I'll talk to you later, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, stay safe, have fun, and I'll see you on the streets.